Welcome back. I first started covering Alex Penelas as a county commissioner back in the 90s, and now he is back, running to get his old job as mayor of Miami-Dade County. We cover a lot of topics from ethics to transit to Al Gore and the 2000 recount. But we start with how he would handle the pandemic if he was the mayor today.
As the county mayor, I would be the crisis manager, much like I was before. As you well know, I managed 22 hurricanes when I was mayor, the Gianni Versace crisis. I managed the aftermath of 9/11, which has a lot of parallels to this situation. And what I did in every one of those cases was I worked with my municipal colleagues. I worked with the community. I created a consensus before we went out to the public to announce what our recommendations were. And I think what's happened here is we have this patchwork of inconsistent messaging where the county sometimes says one thing and then the municipal leaders say something different. I think that's very confusing. It's very confusing for the public, and I think it's led to a lot of the problems we've had. So that's the first thing I would do differently. I would make sure that as the chief crisis manager that I'm speaking for the entirety of the community with the cooperation and with the consensus of my municipal colleagues.
The county mayor's argument today is he needs special powers. He needs the ability that when an emergency is created, when there's an emergency order, that he basically has all-encompassing powers to essentially tell the cities what to do in cases like this. Would you want that sort of power? Do you think you need that sort of power going forward?
Absolutely not. And let me go back to your premise first. Listen, you were around. I had my share of political rivalries when I was mayor of Miami-Dade County. But Jim, I'd pick up the phone and call them. Listen, Raul Martinez and I had our rivalries. I would pick up the phone and call him and say, hey, Raul, this is what the experts are telling me. What do you think? We'd work out whatever differences, and then we'd make the announcement. You never heard Raul Martinez or any other municipal mayor contradict what I was saying publicly. This one voice amendment is absolutely the wrong thing to do because I think it will discourage that kind of conversation. The county mayor is not a dictator, okay? The county mayor needs to work with the community, needs to work with the municipal mayors. By the way, that's why you have 34 municipal seats at the Emergency Operations Center, so that every city is represented in these decisions. So I think that kind of proposal will only make matters worse.
If you were the strong mayor right now, would you order a shutdown in Dade County right now today?
If I were the mayor right now, I would have done a couple of things differently before we reopened. Okay. Number one, I would have made sure there was proper coordination with our municipal colleagues, like we've been talking about. Number two, I would have made sure that we had the contact tracing in place. We have to have that in place with proper isolation. And then number three, which we didn't have, is we didn't have the right enforcement. We said all these steps needed to be taken, 25% capacity or 50% in restaurants, the sidewalk cafes, all these other precautions, appropriately so, but we didn't have the enforcement. So then you had a few folks who violated the law, didn't comply, and now we've had to shut down a bunch of these small businesses again. Those are some of the things that I would have done differently before reopening.
So in essence, you believe that because those things weren't done, we reopened too soon in Dade County?
I think we opened too soon. Maybe it was a week too soon, but those are steps that I think needed to be tight. They needed to be in place before we reopened. And I think waiting another week would have been well worth it to avoid what we're seeing now.
Let's talk about the halfpenny sales tax that passed in 2002 that you spearheaded. What went wrong with that? What at the end of the day, people feel as if they did not get what they were promised. So from your perspective, what do you think went wrong with the system that you created, that you pushed forward?
And those who feel that way are absolutely right. They're frustrated just like I am. I paid a huge political price to get that done because we needed a dedicated funding source here in Miami-Dade County, something that we sought for 20 years so we could draw down state and federal money. We finally passed the halfpenny in 2002. And the rule was very simple: new money, new projects. Okay. And during that time that I had left, We expanded bus service by over 8 million miles. We provided free public transportation to anyone over 65. And the last extension of Metro Rail was approved under my watch. You'll remember Arlington Heights to the airport. We've had not another single inch of Metro Rail expansion since. So then came the recession. The folks in power at the time started using that money to fill the budget holes in the county. What maybe should have only been a year or two became the norm. And since then, $1.5 billion has been grossly misspent. We promised the people of South Dade rail. We can provide them with a light rail system that may actually be a lot cheaper than what you just quoted, that provides a one-seat ride from Florida City all the way to Government Center. And we also know that the additional capacity of rail is significantly greater than buses, as is the economic development surrounding rail. And those studies have been demonstrated time and time again. You don't get the same type of economic redevelopment from bus ways as you do from rail. So that is my that is part of my justification for wanting to bring rail to the people of South Dade. Not to mention the fact that, again, they were promised this. Okay, they've been paying this halfpenny for the last 16 years, and you said $1 billion, but $1.5 billion has been misspent. I have laid out a very clear plan how I would pay for it. I actually have a plan to start repaying annually a portion of the monies that have been misspent to the CITT to jumpstart the South Dade rail project. That would allow us not to touch the currently identified SMART plan dollars. I would then use those dollars to jumpstart the North Quarter, and then yes, I would go to the feds on East-West, because we need desperately an East-West corridor here as well.
Alex, I guess what I'm trying to understand is this sounds very similar to what we were facing in 2002, which I think you were criticized on, which is over-promising. You are now promising rail to the south, rail to the north, and eventually rail east-west. You're talking billions of dollars at a time when the federal government is going to see massive cuts because of all the spending they've had on the coronavirus. County tax dollars are going to be cut. Sales tax dollars are down because businesses aren't open. Are you not over-promising once again?
Absolutely not, because for several reasons. Number one, if you've noticed, I'm talking about going to the feds for the East-West. I think there's a local option on North and South Corridor, especially now with Broward having a full penny. I think there's some tremendous opportunities for collaboration. Okay, so no, it's not an issue of over-promising, Jim. It's an issue of giving people exactly what they've been paying for the last 16 years.
Having covered you in the past, I do think that one of the issues that often came up surrounding you, and I want you to address it, is the question of ethics. Not that you personally profited from anything that took place while you were mayor, but that many of your supporters, many of your financial backers grew substantially in wealth. When you came in, they were not worth very much. By the time your tenure as mayor finished, they were worth millions and had large deals at the airport and other places throughout the county. So do you believe that your financial supporters, the folks who helped get you elected, benefited during your last tenure as mayor?
They may have. They may have. Although I think, as you stated very correctly, or at least alluded to, under the executive mayor form of government, when I was there, I didn't vote on contracts, Jim, as you know, and I didn't even recommend contracts.
I just want to be clear, though. Are you saying pay to play, that notion of if you want to be able to get access to commissioners, if you want to be able to get access to county officials, that you have to basically make campaign contribution? Are you actually suggesting that wasn't taking place while you were in office?
It may have been taking place, but again, let me repeat, I didn't vote on contracts, nor did I recommend contracts.
No, but let's be clear about something. You appointed the county manager. You appointed the county manager who oversaw that contracting process.
I never crossed the line, Jim, as you well know, between the powers of the mayor and the county manager. No one ever suggested that I was telling the county manager, whether it was him or Merritt Sterheim, who I also appointed, or George Burgess, who I also appointed as county manager, I never told them what to do. Of
But,
course, I would make recommendations.
isn't that part of the point of having a circle of friends? What the Herald once described as the wheel of fortune, in that the way the system was created during your time, you didn't need to send that memo. People knew who your allies were. You know, whether it was Chris Cords, Rodney Barretto, Brian May, all of those individuals were well known to be close to you, financially supportive of you in your campaigns. And so no county official, you know, department heads or others, were going to run the risk of running afoul of them for fear of what it might mean with you. Whether that was true or not, that's the perception that was created.
And I understand that. I fully understand it. And that's why I took action to correct it. That's why I created a cone of silence. That's why I fully funded the inspector general. That's why I appointed Paul Phillip, who was the former FBI special agent in charge of the Miami office, as my anti-corruption czar.
In 2004, you ran for the United States Senate.
Yes.
And in the Democratic primary, you ended up losing that race. And at the time, Al Gore came out and made a statement with regard to you, describing you as, and this is the exact words that Al Gore used regarding you, the single most treacherous and dishonest person I dealt with during the campaign anywhere in America. And he's referring, of course, to the fact that during the recount, when you were mayor, you left town. And the perception among Democrats were you abandoned the Democratic Party at a time when it was necessary for you to make sure that things were being run and operated smoothly in Dade County during the recount, where we saw chaos, we saw the Brooks Brothers riot in the elections department, that you abandoned your post in essence. And Al Gore, again, describes you as the most treacherous and dishonest person I dealt with during the campaign anywhere in America. What's your response to what Al Gore says? Because it's sure to come up again during this campaign.
Oh, it already has. And I'm so glad you asked the question, because your premise needs to be corrected factually. I did not leave Miami-Dade County during the recount. I left on a previously scheduled trade mission to Spain in the month of October, not during the recount. I was here during the recount. I was here during the Brooks Brothers riot. And what needs to be clarified, that neither myself as mayor at that time, as the executive mayor, nor as the strong mayor, can you tell the canvassing board what to do? You know that, Jim. You know that I had zero authority to tell the canvassing board to continue the recount.
Why do you think Al Gore referred to you that way?
I don't know. I think he may have been, someone may have suggested to him that I did in fact have the power to order the canvassing board to continue the recount, which was simply not true. But again, I'm speculating. I don't know why he made that statement. By the way, a statement that he made 4 years after the fact, right? When I was running for the U.S. Senate.
We'll be right back.